The Canadian Federation of Independent Business wants the federal government to freeze increases to the Canada Pension Plan and employment insurance premiums coming in the new year. It says the higher payroll deductions will reduce the take home pay of workers, and that few small businesses are in a position to increase wages to offset rising premiums. CFIB President Dan Kelly says EI and pension contributions could increase by almost $305, which Canadians could use for groceries or utilities. Well, with us now to discuss the situation is Mr. Dan Kelly himself. Sir, welcome back to Forum Daily.
Good to be with you.
So let's start with a brief overview of the CPP and EI premium increases. What exactly would they look like for Canadians?
Yeah, so these two payroll taxes are going up in two ways. One, the rate is increasing, and secondly, the amount of your income that is exposed to the rate is rising as well. So the maximum that you pay your premiums on is rising too. Altogether, the EI rate and the CPP rate increase combined is going to add up to about $305 for a worker. For a small business, about $325 per employee. So if you as the employee are looking to your employer to make up the difference on your take-home pay, you may find that the answer is not great because the employer is going to be struggling to deal with their end of the premium increase. And you know that is a worry in these inflationary times. $300, that's not a small amount of money to be taken off of your take home every year, and your paycheck's going to be smaller January 1.
And on that point of the employer's perspective here, how do we expect this to impact businesses, especially small businesses, as they try to recover from already heavy pandemic losses?
Yeah, look, if you can believe it, even at this late stage, what is it, nearly 3 years into this, small firms are telling us, only half of small firms are telling us their sales are back to 2019 levels. Then you add the average $110,000 in debt that the average business took on to survive the pandemic. They're making interest payments at a higher rate on those payments. And then the costs going up on almost every line on their budget for payroll, for utilities, for of course for insurance and other goods. That's not leading to a terrific outcome. So any additional wage pressure taken off the top of their payroll budgets is going to have an impact, and we worry that it's not going to be a good one for workers.
All right, Mr. Kelly. Well, we know CFIB is asking the federal government to freeze EI premiums, just like they did during the pandemic. So, how realistic of an approach is this for officials?
At this late stage, it doesn't look like the federal government is going to change gears. We've been calling on them to freeze EI and CPP. Of course, for CPP, it's the provinces and the feds that combined have to turn the key if that's going to happen. But there are still some pathways that government could change gears, and that would be perhaps a budget measure to retroactively rebate some of the dollars that businesses have paid in these higher premiums, providing a little bit of breathing room for businesses to address their payroll budgets in 2023.
All right, Mr. Kelly. And what kind of moves are businesses considering amid these looming hikes? Are any job layoffs expected from these hikes?
We're in a tight job market right now, so that is the savings grace for workers. Right now, there are lots of jobs sitting vacant, and employers are desperate to find workers. But yeah, it's going to constrain them, and for some, we worry that could this be the straw that breaks the camel's back? There have been businesses struggling for almost 3 years now, dealing with all of these. At a certain point, that 18% of our members that tell us that they may in fact go out of business, some of them may make that decision if they don't see a pathway back to profitability. Ottawa's making that worse. And of course, these aren't the only hikes that Ottawa has planned. EI CPP rates on January 1, carbon taxes and liquor taxes go up in early April. That's certainly not good, not helpful, on top of what we're dealing with right now.
All amid the rising cost of living, right, Mr. Kelly? Now, we just got about a minute left here, but have you received a response from government officials yet regarding this?
Well, the response is really the silence in terms of taking any action. We certainly have been discussing, they've been listening. They haven't moved yet. They did freeze, to their credit, EI premiums during 2020, 2021 and early 2022. But we are still pushing for some offsetting measures that could happen in budget 2023, which we're expecting in the early spring.
All right, we'll definitely have to keep our eyes on that. Mr. Kelly, thank you again for joining us today on Forum Daily.
Anytime at all.